Let's try that again. Oh gosh, the lighting is much better. I should use this more often. So, welcome to another episode of Friday Night Knits. I am Rachel. I am a teacher, wife, parent of three amazing little boys. I am also a spinner. I am a knitter, a crocheter, and I am also a co author of a textbook for AP African American Studies. And this is a vlog where I am sharing with you about my spinning journey for the Jaunty Make Along. And so for this evening, I have already done some things. So let me catch you up. And so here are two, I shouldn't say is, here are two bobbins that are actually finished for my Jaunty along. And for my spin that I am doing, let me actually pull it out. Ooh, child, where did I leave the braid? There it is. So here is one braid. I actually got this from, oh, I actually have the tag over here. Here we go. I got this when I was in Rhinebeck. So Rhinebeck, as you all know, those of you who go to upstate New York in October, is like the Super Bowl of knitting. And so I've just intrigued when I saw this particular brand. It was such a beautiful colorway and kept calling to me. I literally walked away from it, but while I was waiting in line to get some food, I kept looking over at it over my shoulder. So I figured after I placed my order, I'm like, if it's still there, I might as well just go ahead and buy it. And unfortunately, it was still there. So I bought two of these beautiful braids. They're both 4 ounces. It is a Rambouillet, and the colorway is called Shake the Frost. And I believe it's a German dyer. I'm not too sure, but this is the first braid. And the second braid I am using, or actually the second fiber I'm using in this is I want to say, oh yeah, it's a superwash BFW from Hedgehog Fiber. So I'm going to say it was about 3, maybe 4 months ago. Could be a little bit longer. I think it was a Christmas present for myself. I got this email from Hedgehog Fibers, as I do almost every week, just where they were advertising various sales that they were having. And they were doing this thing where you could buy a 3-month mystery bag of wool from them, and you can open it up or you can wait each month to see what you got. And so me being the impatient person I am, I decided to go ahead and open it up, in which I'm glad I did, because one of the fibers, it was beautiful, but just not my style because it had tweed, and I love tweed. I love looking at it. I love touching it, but for whatever reason, I have yet to make a knitted garment with it or object. So fortunately, my friend Annie liked it, and I was like, "Here, take it." But with the fiber I just showed you, this one, I just knew I wanted to do something with it, and I wasn't too sure. And a couple of weeks ago, I was just sitting here, as one does, and I saw it, and I'm like, you know what? I got to put that in a Jaunty. I think it will look great. And so tonight I am going to take my 2 bobbins and go ahead and do a combo spin. This is my first time doing a combo spin, or intentionally doing a combo spin. Apparently I'd done one in the past and didn't quite realize that's what I was doing. But now that I know what it is, I am going to be more intentional about it. And I also have a whole slew of fiber I still need to do, but I'm just plying is one of my favorite parts. And so a part of me just wants to go ahead and start plying now, but I really should wait until I have all the bobbins done. So I'm going to do one more bobbin and then I'm going to get going. So the way that I like to spin, for those of you who are new, I like to spin my wool in the Z twist, and I like to ply my wool in the S twist. I tried doing the complete opposite for my last spin, and it did not come out as nice as I was hoping. I mean, it's nice, but I wasn't like in love with it. The colorway, and also just my experience with drafting the yarn, or the wool I should say, was a part of the reason why I didn't really enjoy that particular spin as much. I enjoyed it, but wasn't in love with it, if that makes sense. However, with this particular experience so far, spinning it has been fantastic, but I am trying to do more of a sport weight spin, and so far so good. This is probably the best in the consistency. I'm going to actually, oh my gosh, it looks so amazing. That is really some of my best work, because let me tell you, it has been some inconsistency here. And now in the beginning of every bobbin, for whatever reason, I struggle with getting it onto the bobbin without it being too chunky. So it takes me a few minutes to get going whenever I'm starting off with a new bobbin. But once I get going, I'm finding that I'm getting more and more consistent. So I'm really excited about that. I am going to already take some of the wool that I initially sort it through. I didn't start stretching it or anything. I just went ahead and did the division just to, because I really like to do it in little skinny little things. Why, I don't know. I think it just makes me feel like I have more control over it as well. And then finally, with the hope with this particular project is that if I can get this all spun up by mid-March, then I can hopefully get this on the needles by before the end of March. My goal is to have the Jaunty almond needles by March 31st. I just recently got the email this afternoon for her March to May knit along that she does. She has a 25% off if you are a subscriber to her newsletter, or all her patterns will be self-published patterns will be 25% off. I went ahead and purchased the DRK Everyday Cardigan, and then I also purchased the Through Lines shawl. I was going to purchase the nightshade shawl, but I realized I have a very strong inclination of how to do that without a pattern. So when I do cast that on my needles, it will be inspired by the nightshades. Now, obviously, if I'm not able to successfully get it cast on, or if I find that it's not looking the way it's supposed to, I'm just going to go ahead and purchase a pattern. But I think I have a strong enough understanding about the construction of the item and where the slip stitches are going to go, where I don't necessarily need to purchase it. But the Through Lines, I knew that I would need to purchase that one. And the nightshade is the one or night lights. Is it night lights or nightshade? I honestly don't know. But whatever, the one with nights in it, that's the one I'm really excited about doing. And I should just go ahead and purchase it. The pattern sale is going on to March 1st, if I remember correctly. So by the time you see this, it's over. But don't worry, Andrea Mari always has various sales. So if you miss this particular sale, she will always do a birthday sale. And I believe her birthday is either in May or June. I just find that to be around the time of year that I do like a big purchase of her patterns, and so I think that's when her next sale will go on. It's usually right before she drops her Rhineback sweater, which I can't wait. For the last 3 years, I have been knitting a Rhineback sweater, and I had such a good time with that. But anyway, that is not what we're here for. We're here to talk about my spinning. So I got my wool, wool all set up. I'm going to move this other wool that I was playing around with because I also want to spin this tonight too. This is for a different project, which I'm going to talk more about later on. But I want to just go ahead and get this started. So I'm going to reposition the camera so that way you can see exactly what I'm doing. So my knitting machine is a Dreaming Robot. I'm using their little e-spinner, the Nano. I love this little guy. It spins up 2 ounces, and believe me, I initially felt some kind of way, I should say, about not getting the 6 ounces. But at the time, I wasn't 100% sure. I was committed to the life of a spinner, and I really wanted to make sure that I really understood how to do this before I connected myself to it. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure. Sometimes I will do a little loop at the end. I'm going to bring my hand a little closer so you can see I'm talking about. I'll take the tail end of the wool I'm about to spin, and I will take the little circle that I made, or little loop, I should say, what I made at the end, and I will bring it through and I will pinch it together. And then I will do a little pre-drafting, especially if the wool is similar to this where it's a little tight. And then once I'm pretty sure that it's attached, I will let the spin start as soon as my Nano wants to start. Got it going, as you can see. It is at the speed I want initially. I will pick up the speed a little bit as I'm going. Sometimes I will spin slowly. It really just depends on my mood and also the fiber. There are some fibers I find that it's not in my best interest to go slow. And some I found that it's okay. And to be honest with you, I think it's just really just my comfort level with the fiber, not necessarily the texture or the staple length of it. Now, just in case you didn't know, Massachusetts got hit, well, pretty much the whole northern part of the country got hit with a blizzard. And in Massachusetts, we go on February break, the 3rd week of February every year. Why? I don't know. I've been a teacher for 17 years. I still don't know why we do that. But anywho, We go on break the third week of February and again the third week of April. And what we will do that third week of February, it's up to families and students and teachers and whoever else is impacted by February break. And my kiddos were very fortunate that with their February break, we were home the whole time. And now we have school until June 29th due to this lovely blizzard that we just survived. So it's going to be some cranky people in that building tomorrow. Child. After June 1st, students in the classroom, not pleasant. But my kiddos will be going outside a lot. We will be doing class outside, folks, because I am not going to deal with it's too hot, it's too cold. Do we have to do work? It's nice outside. I'm skipping today. I'm going to the beach, Miss G. I kid you not. Okay, story time. I was teaching online. Here, I'm going to bring my face up a little bit so you can see my face. So I was teaching online, right? You remember COVID lockdown where everyone was showing appreciation for essential workers and teachers, etc. But anywho, teaching my students, we were doing something and I was like, okay, like tomorrow I was telling them what activity we had planned next. And several of my students were like, sorry, Miss G, I won't be there. I was like, I'm sorry, what now? They're like, I won't be here tomorrow online. I was like, why? Why would you be online to learn from me, your educator, tomorrow? They're like, oh, it's a beach day. It's going to be 90 degrees tomorrow. I was like, well, the expectations for you to be there. Kid you not, I had so many kids send me an email like, sorry, Miss G, couldn't come to class today. I was going to the beach. One kid was like, my girlfriend sent me a picture and I just knew I had to go with her to the beach. I was like, I don't even want to know what kind of picture she sent you because that is too much information, children. Too much. Gotta love students, but no, they will tell you when they're skipping. They will tell you too much of their business sometimes. Okay, I'm actually glad this happened because I'm curious if this has happened to anyone else. Have you, when you've been in the middle of spinning and the wool breaks as it does sometimes, because again, I probably am not leaving it, not leaving it to spin long enough, which is why it looks more like woven instead of thread. But anyway, I digress. When it breaks, sometimes I can't find where it broke, which turns into a son of a biscuit. As I can't find where it was. And I kid you not, when I was first doing this braid, I had a beautiful bobbin going. I was so proud of myself. It was looking so good. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to like share this with the community and just, oh, I'm in love. And I was just the smiles, right? So I'm in the middle of, you don't want to stay on. So I'm in the middle of, spinning and just like all happiness. The wool breaks. And so I'm like, okay, just put it back on there. And I'm looking, I'm doing all the different things and I cannot find the end piece in order to get it going. And I keep looking and looking and looking until I just got too frustrated. And I was like, you know what? I literally spent a half hour trying to find it. I gave up. I decided to take the whole thing off the bobbin because with these bobbins, you can unscrew either end. You can slide the wool off. So I unscrewed it, slid the wool off, and then I just respun it onto the bobbin and it worked itself out, that made me so happy because I thought I was going to lose all of it, but I only ended up losing about a quarter of it by doing that. So that was a relief. All right, but hopefully I'm going to get this back onto the bobbin. And once I do, I'm going to let you go. So that way you can, if you are spinning with me, can do your own spin. I recently purchased a new base for my eNano. I really wanted to avoid my nanos sliding all over the place when I needed to spin. With this base, you had to go through the process of attaching it, and it took a few minutes for me to figure out, but once I got a system going, I was successful in finally getting all portions of the base attached to my nano. This particular base comes with a variety of different little accessories that you can use to improve your spinning experience.
Soundstripe. Soundstripe. Sound stripe. 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 Sound stripe.
So here I am trying to see if my till bobbin will give me a little bit better of an experience with spinning. One thing I noticed that with these 3D printed bobbins, that one, it's a much smaller shaft, and so I'm concerned it may not hold as much wool, excuse me. And then second, once I get it onto the spinner, I have to increase my tension significantly. So I decided just to give up with it. It was too loud and wobbly, and my string was all strung out, so to speak. So I went ahead and just used the original bobbin that came with the e-spinner. It took me a minute to get it set up because by this point I was feeling a little frustrated, and not only with the bobbin, just with myself for not doing a little bit more investigation before making such a purchase. Fortunately, each of the 3D printed bobbins I purchased from Spinning Siren were only $6, so it wasn't too much of a loss, but I know I'm not going to be able to use the purple. I will use the teal and the rose gold one, but I will have to use it during the daytime when my family is up. And I usually like to spin at night when I know my kids are in bed and that my husband is watching a game or something where I have a little bit more time for myself and I can spin without causing a lot of sound and won't be disruptive to anyone's activities. Sometimes I also like to spin while watching a movie or listening to an audiobook, and when it's wobbly and loud like that, it just really is not an engaging experience. So I learned my lesson. I know that in the future, do a little bit more investigation, read some reviews before making the decision to purchase something. I definitely researched the spinning wheel to familiarize myself with the product, as well as with the different experiences that folks had, including whether or not it was worth the cost. And so, which is the reason why I bought the e-spinner that you see on your screen right now. But all in all, still really happy with the base, although it's not quite the size that I was hoping for in terms of like fitting my portable battery. It definitely is keeping my spinning wheel where it needs to go, and it's making the spinning experience so much more enjoyable. Welcome to another day of checking in about my Jaunty shawl. I am so hoping that by March 31st, I will have this particular item on my needles. It's not looking too good right now because it's March 7th and I still have a full 6 ounces of wool to spin along with what's in my lap right now. I'm currently working on the first item. So each braid comes with 4 ounces, and I have 1 full ounce I need to do, and I have another 2 ounces I would like to do from another batch of wool I purchased. My goal is that for all the wool that I'm using for my Jaunty, I want to be able to say it came from my Rhinebeck visit in 2025. So one of the reasons why I want to check in with you today is just to share with you, because I can't recall if I shared it in my previous clip, so we're going to do it today. See, I have made a significant progress with this particular braid. The twist is exactly the way I want it to be. It's working up really nicely, so I just wanted to take you along with me as I finish up this particular braid. So one of the things I've been doing lately with my spin is that, one, I picked up the speed. I noticed that with the Rambouillet, I need to definitely spin a little bit faster, at least with this particular braid. I'm not an expert spinner at all, so I could be completely wrong. But for one of the things I'm noticing as I am engaging with this fiber is that whenever I do a higher speed, one, it catches a lot faster, which means the draft is a lot easier. And two, the thread or wool I'm creating is much more conducive to what I'm looking for. It's a lot easier to rub out the little nobbins that pop up every once in a while. And I just find it easier to draft. So the speed is where I'm going to keep it. And I have it closer to the dial. What else did I want to tell you? I have been doing long draft. Hop back in to check in with you to let you know what progress I have made. Right now, I have successfully completed one bobbin, so she is all done. The wool looks absolutely amazing. I am so proud of myself with the method that I've been able to do in order to make my wool a little bit more consistent. There are times when, you want to rush through things and whatnot, and today is not the day, or this project is not the project. I am so glad I'm using, wool from that I purchased from Rhinebeck. I cannot wait to see what this is going to look like. Doing Andrea Mowry's Rhinebeck sweater makes my Rhinebeck experience even more wonderful. I love going there, seeing all the different knits, meeting new people, falling in love with new yarns and new fibers. And so this is just like endearing to me that I'm able to use something from this amazing experience that I have with two of my favorite human beings. So I'm about to actually get ready to go out with another one of my favorite human beings. She is my son's godmother, and we are doing a sleepover. You remember those days in middle school and high school, how you used to have a sleepover with your bestie? And so that's what we're doing tonight. And I cannot wait. We rented a hotel room. We're going to gorge, watch movies, and just have like the best time. She doesn't craft, but she is down to let me spin and knit and whatnot. And I appreciate her understanding of my obsession. So this is all finished, and I put that to the side. I did not get a chance to ply. I have about 2 ounces left to do for the spin. So this is one part of it, and here is the second. As you can see, I didn't make much of a dent, and the reason why, let me show you. Ugh, I was having a son of a biscuit with the bobbin. So since I finished that particular bobbin and all my other bobbins are filled up, I have a total of 6 that came with my Nano. 3 of them automatically came, and then I purchased an additional 3 when I got my Lazy Kate. And so this one is on a bobbin. This is for another project, and the other 3 is for the Jaunty that are just sitting and waiting to be plied. And so this one left over, this is what I want to ply it on, because as you can see, the shaft is a little bit larger or wider, and I'm hoping that I can fit a little bit more wool, but I don't know. I'm not like a physics person or anything. Maybe I might be able to get enough on there. The other issue with my newly purchased bobbins is the fact that there's instances where the draft is not consistent with getting on, and I have to undo my spring so much. No, I'm not showing you. So this is the spring that you use to increase or decrease the tension, and I have to keep it here in order to just do the spin. So I don't know if I want to do that for the ply, because it takes me a little bit longer to ply, because I wanted to, this is the final product and I wanted to come out really nice. So with that said, I am going to take a break. I think I am going to reduce the tension. I'll use my little scrapbooking tape in order to mark where I left it. So that way when I am ready to spin again, which probably will not be until next week, because tomorrow at the chaperone, a my students, I mentioned this in the podcast before, my students volunteer at a homeless shelter for people who are unhoused or displaced, and they have to have an adult there with them when they are interacting with anything hot. So when they use the stove, or because the stove is gas and the oven is also gas, one of us has to be there. And I try to do at least two, if not three, visits to chaperone. And so tomorrow is my turn again, and it's from 5 to 9, which isn't too late. So we should be good to go. So I'm going to reduce the tension. I reduced the tension, and I used the tape to indicate. I don't know if you can see. Oh, the camera, work with me. There we go. I use this tape to indicate that I need to increase my spring all the way to this point. So hopefully I can get back to the same tension that I left off at. I'm going to put this in a nice little neat ball in my room. I don't think it's going to have any issue, but the weather is starting to get a little bit warmer, so I don't want to take a chance and some random thing getting into it. So that makes me feel a little bit better. In terms of my other wool, I'm going to wrap it around. Actually, I'm going to do the little crochet thing. I think that will make me feel a little bit better about leaving it out and about, because I don't want it to get matted or tangled up again. So I'm going to show you really quick how I do this. There's probably a better technique. I was watching, I believe Andrea Mari, to be honest with you, and she had mentioned, and also Casey from Young Folk Knits also mentioned that this is one of the methods that they use in order to kind of pit it back. And it makes this cute little braid, which I will circle back to when I am ready to spin it up. The bobbin that I'm using right now will definitely be more than enough to finish that portion of the braid in this, and I will have a full braid done. And I know that I will have plenty of yarn available to do my plying. I most likely will be plying next weekend, and keeping everything in this project bag was really a tote that I got from the concert I went to a few years ago with my bestie, who I'm going out with tonight. Food Fighter is one of my favorite rock bands, so I was really excited to get that. And I usually use that more in the summer, so I guess I'm getting ready for the summer. I'm gonna leave this bobbin here. I'm gonna put this bobbin back over there. Well, it's done. I have finally completed my spin for the Jaunty spin along. This, ever since Andrea Mowry announced this particular knit along, knew immediately I wanted to join in. I have fallen in love with spinning. It's something that I try to do at least once a week, where I can get a chance to sit and just feel the wool glide between my fingers, and that it turns into a beautiful hank of yarn. And so here is one of it. So this has 4 ounces, and it's 20 WPI, or 20 wraps per inch. And when I held it up with the little wooden item, it definitely shows between a sport slash DK weight yarn. So I think it's going to be perfect for the Jaunty. It's very soft. The wool I used, Rambouillet, and then I held it together with a couple of other random pieces that I had in my very interesting collection of wool. So I'm really glad with the different colorway. I think it's going to keep me engaged, because one, I'm not going to know if I'm going to have like a little, as you can see, there's a little bit of hints of pink, there's gray, there is lighter gray, darker gray. So I really love the fact that it has a different types of variations in it, that I think is going to allow me to stay motivated to keep knitting. The first part of the hank, which is another 4 ounces, as you can see, it's a little bit more rainbowy than the other. And the way that I'm envisioning this is going to happen is that I'm going to start with this more rainbow coalition of colors, and then it's going to morph into this like gray and white, because when you look in the middle, as you can see, that's where the gray and white is starting to come out a little bit more. And by the time I finish with this particular cake, I will be ready to do this one. And there's still levels of pink embedded in this as well, which will tie in the other end of it too. And I figure when I'm tying it together or whatnot, it will look right. So I've started knitting with it, and I'm already like addicted. I have two, three, four other projects in action. So I really don't need to be working on this, but I just wanted to see, now that it's all dried and it's ready to go and I caked it up, I'm like, I'm just curious how well does it knit up, and it's knitting up quite well. So I'm going to hold it up a little bit closer to the camera so you can see. So this is the wrong side that you're looking at. And here is the right side. And again, this is for the Jaunty shawl. I'm going to try to make this as large as possible. In the video overview that Andrea Mary shared, she identified that the Jaunty that she wears in some of her sample photos, excuse me, is 8 ounces. So which is the reason why I chose to also spin 8 ounces. As you saw earlier in the videos, there were some hits and misses with my spin experience, especially when I got those new bobbins. It did not come out exactly the way I had hoped, but in the end, it worked itself out, and I'm happy to report that I have this beautiful new cake of yarn that I'm ready to make something gorgeous with. So I will continue to share with all of you various instances or outcomes of this, but I am pleased to report that I have successfully made my beautiful cake of yarn. Oh, I just love it so much. It's so pretty. And what I love about it is that it's going to be the perfect lightweight thing I can wrap around my neck, especially now that we're about to transition out of the winter. And today is actually the first official day of spring. And spring in New England can be quite chilly in the morning as well as in the evening. And as more AC units start to be popped on, I personally get a little bit of a chill sometimes when I'm in certain AC units when my body temperature is fluctuating from one end to another. Other details I wanted just to share with you, which I'll talk about again in the future. This particular yarn, I am using a 3.75 millimeter needle. I think that this will be the best bet. It will give me a little bit more control. I might evolve into a 4 millimeter needle when I'm doing this one, because like I said, I could definitely knit this at a sport weight gauge, but I think I would prefer to knit this at a DK weight. So I might go up to a 4 millimeter needle, which is a US 5, I believe, or 6. I don't know. I think it's a US 6. So anywho, I probably will go up to a needle size with that, just to give it a little bit more width when it's around my neck. But in terms of the tails, I might stick to this, but we'll see. I might end up doing this, or if I need the needles, because like I said, I'm looking over at my projects that are like, how dare you put me down? You know you need to finish me. You're starting this new one, but I couldn't help it. I was just curious. I was curious. Other spinning news to share with you. In addition to just going hardcore and finishing up this Jaunty spin, which again, it took a little bit longer than I anticipated because I was being really meticulous about making sure that I had a consistent spin happening, which is the reason why it's applied so well together. I think plying is my favorite part of this whole process. There were a few instances where I got a little distracted, but fortunately this is at the end, so it's okay. But I definitely was making sure I was pinching just to hold or grip the wool a little bit tighter to ensure that it came out the consistency I want. And then I applied it to this spin. So this was a random spin. So while I was waiting for this hank and this cake to dry, I was like, you know what? I've had this wool set aside for a minute. Let me go ahead and spin it up. And I'm so glad I did. So I spun it up, and it was just sitting on a bobbin. And when I was in the process of applying these together, I was like, you know what, let me just go ahead and apply this one as well, because I felt like I was in a applying mood. And I had ran out of, because I did this as a 3-ply, and I ran out of wool to finish the ply, and I had I would say about 2 ounces left of wool to spin. And I felt like a pretty significant amount that I didn't just want to put to waste or put aside and save for another spin. So I decided to do the chain ply, and it took me a minute just to get the hang and the spin of it. I definitely thought I was going to be one of those people that I kept my loop with my left hand, but I noticed that evening that I was using my right hand in order to keep the loop and pull the yarn through, which was interesting to me. At least it was to me, or other spinners maybe out there. So I applied the same technique to this wool. This was wool that was in this mystery bag. So I purchased this mystery bag randomly from an Etsy shop. It's not from the one I typically go to. It was one that my one of my friends had, I think she suggested it to me. I can't remember if Annie suggested this to me or not, but anywho, The fiber color is listed here, the fiber brush. It's a grab bag with mixed wool, and I saw this golden color and I was like, that's what I want. So I took that out of the bag, and then I got this in the mail from a dyer that I buy from frequently called Sunset. And this was this is from Divine. What is the name of her company? I want to make sure I say it correctly. Hang on one second. Dye Works. So sorry about the crinkling. I really love the way she dyes her wool. I love how she packages it. I never feel worried that my wool is going to, felt, or that I'm going to have some issues with it. It has been a wonderful spinning experience using her wool, and I cannot wait to do more spins with it. So I took some wool out of the mystery bag, as well as the 2 ounce that I purchased from Divine Wool, and I went ahead and started to spin with it. I'm not too sure how much wool I'm going to need for my lintel, which is what I plan to use this golden color with, which is why I made, it feels like it's about 10 to 15 grams of wool. I wasn't trying to do a big spin. When it fit on the bobbin, it was 2 ounces. So it was about 2 ounces of wool that I was able to spin up doing the chain ply. So I was really happy about that. So as soon as I'm ready to cast on the lintel, this is going to be caked up and ready to go. So can't wait for that. The final thing I just wanted to share with you, all of this has inspired me to do my first sock spin. So again, pulling this from the mystery bag, this beautiful green was included in it. So it was like this emerald green, and then like a little bit, this is coming off more like a forest color. It reminds me of a pine tree. And there are certain parts of Georgia where the pine trees are in various colors depending on the season. And so this one has a little bit more of that deep, rich green color that you see like deep in the woods. And this color here reminds me of what you see like in the beginning when you're first going into the woods. When I was a kid, we used to go in the woods all the time, going on our various hiking adventures and whatnot. So it kind of reminds me of that. But my goal is to spin this into a pair of socks. So my next vlog will be about my spinning experience with that. This one should be a fairly short video for that, given the fact that I only have about 2.5, maybe 3 ounces of wool here. So that is it. I want to say thank you so much for joining me in this very long journey and getting to knit the Jaunty. I look forward to sharing with you updates about my shawl, and I definitely will have it done by June. It's not one of my priority knits. I have 2 pairs of socks and 2 sweaters and a crochet blanket that I'm currently working on that I'm hopeful that I would get done by the end of this month. Today is March 20th, so the likelihood of that happening is almost slim to none, which is a little disappointing because I really wanted to start April with a fresh new cast on and just really go ham with it, but it's all good. It is what it is. So I am going to bid you a farewell and just thank you so much for joining me in this journey to become a better spinner. And I hope that it inspires you to either cast on something new or try a new craft that you've been eyeing on Instagram or YouTube or whatever it is that brings you joy.